I think one of the biggest myths right now when it comes to the potential of bringing in a safety is that somehow means that you're giving up on Jalen Pitre. It doesn't.
No.
This is not left guard. Like if Kenyon Green gets beat out at left guard, 99% of the time when the offense is on the field, assuming there's no injuries, his ass is sitting on the side. He's either sitting on the bench if he's on the roster, or he's holding his helmet, or he's not on the roster at all.
Yeah.
There's not much value with him.
Yeah.
There are ways, like if you bring in Justin Simmons or you bring in another safety, there are ways to make Jalen Pitre and Jimmy Ward fit, and there's ways to find Jalen Pitre a role on this football team, perhaps a very valuable role on this football team. And furthermore, he can player, because the one thing I love about Jalen Pitre, and I think this is what Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans love about Jalen Pitre, is he works his ass off. He's a right kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He's got a great attitude, and he has 2 years left on his contract right now. So if Jalen Pitre, if they bring in someone that they consider an upgrade over Jalen Pitre right now, unless he's not what they think he is, and he's not built the way that they think he is, mm-hmm. and he doesn't have the value that they think he does, not only can he contribute here, this could end up paying off in the long run to where a few years from now we're looking back and we're saying, man, that was crazy. You remember when they brought in so-and-so and Jalen Pitre just continued to improve? He could play his way into being what you thought he was, but this notion that, like, if you draft a left guard in the first round, you're giving up on Kenyon Green. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Or if you sign a left guard that you expect to start, that's a wrap, mm-hmm. because he's not going to be on the field unless you want him to be a backup or whatever. That's not the case if you bring in a safety with Jalen Pitre. And I think that's something that needs to be made clear, because you get the pushback. Why are you giving up on Jalen Pitre? I'm not giving up on him. I'm just acknowledging what anyone who watched Jalen Pitre play year 1 to year 2 should be able to acknowledge, and that's that he was not good last year. That doesn't mean that he's going to be bad forever. That doesn't mean that he can't improve, and it doesn't mean that if they bring in a safety, you're giving up on a guy that's going to have 2 years left on a cheap rookie contract.
Like, if I were to give you, this is how I would put it. If I were to give you a scouting report of his first 2 seasons, forget the production, just a scouting report on Jalen Pitre. Strength is speed downfield, coverage in the middle of the field, gets burned, et cetera. But he has strengths. Strengths are he can be around the ball a lot. He's around the ball a lot. Yeah. He's good up on the line of scrimmage. He's smart. I don't know if he's instincts, as someone said, who was it, or that strong, but he's smart and works hard and all that. There's a role for that in any defense. There's a role for a player that has his strengths. And then the second thing, which I think is the most obvious, why would you not want an upgrade? Like the safeties out there, it's like, yeah, we love you. We think there's hope for you. We need an upgrade as a team.
And right here on the YouTube, shout out to all the loopholes. If you listen, you are one. This is C. Mallory 7. Imagine slamming the door on a guy going into his 3rd season, especially when he balled out year 1 and then had a total change in defensive scheme year 2. Pump the brakes on the Pitre. I'm assuming he's saying hate. That's the thing I'm talking about. That's the whiny nature of, mm-hmm. I don't know if it's jock sniffing, I don't know what it is, but you're not slamming the brakes on a guy. He's got 2 years left. No. But acknowledge that he was bad. New system. This system was supposed to help him. No. It was the first year in the system for Derek Stingley. It was the first year in the system for Christian Harris. It was the first year in the system for Blake Cashman. This system was supposed to play to his skills. Yeah. So it's not giving up on Jalen Pitre at all. Mm-hmm. Not even a little bit. But acknowledge that was bad last year. They benched him.
Yeah.
They benched him.
Yeah. And I just feel like with 2 years left on his contract, it's also what NFL players often need. And I heard Seth talking about this. People talk about competition, except when it's a player or a media member or fan trying to be in someone's corner. No, it's about competition the whole time. It absolutely is.
All right, here's on the text line, Landry Locker, John Lopez, Figgy Fig with you. You want to get the Tin Man and Dorothy ready and the Lion.
Oh, wow.
This is happy to meet you on the YouTube. Funny how Kenyon was drafted higher and played worse, but he doesn't get the hate JP does.
In my head, I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain.
Where the hell have you been?
He's been destroyed.
he didn't play last year, so there wasn't anything to hate. But you don't think
Pitre is beloved compared to
you don't
Kenyon
think
Green.
Kenyon Green got hated on? Happy to meet you. You need to go meet somebody. You need to get out of the house.
Happy to meet you.
Happy to meet you on YouTube. Needs to go get out of the house. Go meet somebody. Happy to meet who? Kenyon Green right now, it's not even the same as Jalen Pitre. Like Kenyon Green's trying to prove that he can survive. Like there's a chance Kenyon Green's playing for his job. If Jalen Pitre, if they bring in some Jalen Pitre,
He's going to still be on the team.
He's still going to be on the team, and he still could have a very valuable role. And I'm not completely dismissing the possibility of Jalen Pitre ended up being what Nick Caserio and DeMeco Ryans have said about him. Like, let's go back to DeMeco Ryans' press conference. This was DeMeco Ryans. This was one of his first messages to one of his players, and he was speaking to Jalen Pitre.
Seeing Jalen Pitre, love the blessing, love the play speed of Pitre, and just to see him come out this past year and the way 5 interceptions, the way he attacked the ball, man, Jalen, we got to continue to do that, right? We got to continue to take the ball away.
And they did not. And amidst the struggles, you can tell they still like him. And this was Nick Caserio. This was with Payne and Pendergast. This was the 40-minute man on Jalen Pitre.
Yeah, Jalen's a good football player. He's made a lot of good plays. You know, there's always plays that we can improve and get better, but his energy, I'd say his playmaking ability, you know, the tackling has been a little bit up and down at times, but I would say he cares a lot about football. He's a very instinctive player. He's very aware. You know, I think there's some growing pains that every player goes through, and, you know, I think sometimes everybody's kind of, you know, wants to nitpick and look for things. There's always things that players can do better. There's always things that we can improve. They can improve them on. I certainly can. But love having Jalen on a team. Love his personality, love his mindset, the way he prepares, his focus. We'll take Jalen Pitre in this building. We'll take 1,000 Jalen Pitres on this football team any day of the week. There's no question about it.
All righty. We'll see. But, again, bringing in a safety is not giving up on Jalen Pitre at all. So we'll see how it goes. I just think that's it's obvious that they acknowledge the struggles. How much so, who knows? But I still think I agree with him that he can be a really good football player, but it's going to be interesting to see how they look at the opportunity right now with the market, because it's one thing to have, you know, the top end guys, but now that there's all these safeties and you have like $100 million in salaries out there, and how do they look at that? It'll be interesting